Hey everyone, welcome back to Smart Mouth Beauty Raw. I'm Holly, and today we're just gonna talk. I am actually downstairs in my living room. I know you all have gotten used to my raw videos being upstairs, but it is blankety blank, blank hot here in Louisville, Kentucky, and my upstairs has no air conditioning, and it is so hot up there. So I'm in the living room, and this is what we're gonna do. And today the topic, as you can see with the title of this video, I think I'm gonna call it "Why I'm Weird" or "What Makes Me Weird." I don't know, like what makes me weird. And I just think I had actually seen a meme or a quote online about how that things that are perfect aren't always good, and it had to do with the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or Pisa. I don't know how to say it, but it was like, the quote was like, if the Leaning Tower of Pisa wasn't leaning, would anybody care? Like, would anybody visit it? Would anybody pay attention to it? Would anybody think it's unique? Would anybody think it was special? And that really like hit me. I got to thinking, like, you know, all of the things that make us so unique. But I think we try so hard, I try so hard to be perfect in this square box of what I think is perfect. It's storming out, so if you all just heard that thunder, the lighting might be like flickering and changing. We're having a storm. And I just got to thinking, you know, of all of the things that make me weird. There's so many. You know, I think the thing that makes me the most different is that I am contradicting. I confuse people. I think I confuse people. Actually, I think I disappoint people because I look a certain way versus I am a certain way. I'm kind of talking a little bit about me being an introvert. And if you're confused on what introverts are, there's all kinds of information of introvert versus extrovert on the internet, so you can kind of look that up. And if you don't know what you are by 40, then you have a problem. Like, everybody needs to realize what they are, whether it's introvert or extrovert. And Heather and I are actually both introverts, believe it or not. I know we have some sass, but introvert isn't shy, and I think people are confused about that, you know. And I think it took me a long time to realize that there's nothing wrong with being an introvert, and that introverts don't need to be fixed. Some other people who might be extroverts think, well, you just need to come out of your shell. And I'm just like, but there's no shell to come out of. Like, it's just my inner personality. It's my inner being of being an introvert. And so what makes me weird is I understand how I look visually. I understand that I can be confusing to some people, a lot of people, most people. And especially with my line of work and what I like to do in my spare time. I love to dance, I love to perform. And so people are very confused by that. Also with me being a hairdresser, people are really confused by that. They don't think that an introvert can be a hairdresser. Hairdressers have this stereotype of being wild, crazy, party, which actually goes along with the way I look too, because people get very confused because I know I look like a big cartoon character. You know, I have colorful hair, I dress a little bit differently, I, you know, have tattoos or whatever you may plug into the stereotype of those particular features of a person. You know, that's what makes me weird, is that I feel like I'm very contradictory because people expect that I'm the life of the party, that I stay up late, that I listen to loud music, and that I'm always social, I'm going out every night, and that's just not who I am. And I think actually I end up disappointing people. And so I struggle with that, even though I know there's nothing wrong with me. I struggle with that appearance of what people might assume of me. Does this make sense? So I'm just trying to feel more like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Like, I'm trying to embrace that this is kind of where I am, and I'm just kind of off to some people, or I'm just kind of a mystery. Like, I just want to be mysterious. Like, wouldn't that be a good feature of being 40 something? Just to be mysterious. But there's a fine line between mysterious and misunderstood, painfully. I don't know. So anyway, that's what makes me weird, is that I'm an introvert. I usually just want to blend into the wall, but if you look at me, there's absolutely no way I'm blending into anything. There is no wall that looks like this that I could possibly blend into. But I think internally, I'm always, I was at a party this past weekend, and I just want to blend into the wall. Like, I just want to hang back. I want to just sit in the corner and kind of observe. I don't really want to participate. Like, I'm laughing and have a good time, but it's just, it's hard. And then the whole next day, like, I am drained. I like being social, being at a party where there's lots of people, lots of conversation, lots of music. It's draining. It is draining for an introvert. Again, if you don't know whether you're an introvert or extrovert, I highly recommend that you look it up, do some self assessments, and explore, you know, what gives you energy, what recharges you, what drains you. You know, like, look at those key things in your life and see if you couldn't, you know, maybe classify. And there's a broad spectrum of introvert to extrovert. And, you know, I've dated people that were the extreme extrovert, and I wanted to kill them. And then I dated some people who were extreme introvert, because I think even though I'm an introvert, I'm a little bit more towards the center. I can push myself, which is also misleading. Again, like, so misleading. My whole life is very contradictory, you know, and especially when I tell, you know, some clients, like at the hair salon, that I'm an introvert, and they're like, oh no, you're not shy. Well, no, I didn't say I was shy. You know, and so they insist that they think that they know me because I present a certain way. You know, I work about 7 hours a day, and so each hour, potentially I could have a new person in my chair. And I always think at the back of my head, you know, to pick my energy level back up and restart every hour, because that particular hour with that particular client, they deserve me at the same energy level if they had the first appointment of the day or the 6th appointment in the day. And so, but going through my day is very draining. You know, my first client, we might be talking about her daughter going off to college and how emotional that is for her. The second client could be dealing with a dying parent and how traumatic that is for him or her. The third client could have just gotten a new puppy, and the terror that the puppy is going, you know. I wear all of that information. As a hairdresser, we take that on. We explore those emotions with our client. I don't just sit there and go, I interact, I engage, I want to have in-depth conversations, but I do wear that. I do take that home, and that's draining. And so it's so hard then to, you know, come back up each hour. And at the end of the day, I'm just, you know, done. Like I said at that party the other day, you know, the next day I didn't leave the house. I just couldn't. And I remember we were trying to bake some cookies, like Paul and I were in the kitchen, and I'm standing at the pantry, and I'm just like, I don't know. He's like, well, just get the ingredients out. You know, like we're getting together. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, I cannot even think to find the ingredients in my pantry. So, you know, it took me a long time to figure out, you know, like how I tick, and what drains me, and how do I rejuvenate. And I think that's one of the good questions to figure out if you're an introvert or extrovert, is how do you rejuvenate? Are you a kind of person that at the end of the long workday, do you hit happy hour? Do you recharge by going out to dinner with 15 friends and staying out and having some drinks and having this really energetic conversation, or maybe seeing a live band? That could be very rejuvenating to extroverts. For introverts, what that looks like is maybe rejuvenating with a hot bubble bath, cup of coffee, or a glass of wine, a book, or a really comforting show. Introverts, and Heather and I always talk about Friends. You know, if you've hung out with us at any given time, you know, we will quote Friends, because I think it's just our comfort show, and it could be anything. It's the show that you put on in the background that has memory of maybe a youthful time or a past time, some show that's always funny or always comforting. And I think, you know, for me, just kind of having a show on, Heather and I were TV kids. What that means is, like, you know, we would be home alone a lot, you know, especially coming off the school bus, or, you know, mom would still be at work and we'd have the TV to kind of babysit us. Or if mom's in the kitchen, you know, making dinner, she'd plop us down in front of the TV because she knows we'd be right there. We will be right there. So we kind of, I kind of find TV to be very comforting in a weird way. So that's rejuvenating. So anyway, back to the point, is how do you rejuvenate? So kind of doing some self-reflection and things like that. But again, because I am so drained by the public, and my job is with the public, and of course with dancing and performing and being with a group of other dancers, it absolutely drains me. And I think people are very shocked about that, because again, I think it's because of the way I look. I think that's very misleading to people, and sometimes I think it can be a little disappointing to people. So what makes me weird is my outside doesn't fit the inside, but I wouldn't change my outside for the world. Maybe if you all want for me to do a raw video talking about my tattoos and my journey of body art, something very, very important to me, I would not change anything. And it's funny, people will ask me, you know, wouldn't you change your first one you got? No. My first one is amazing. Like, I love it so much, and I got it when I was 18, and I'm 40. I'll be 44 next month. So it's still something so special to me. So it's cool that I've been able to kind of push past that stereotype of, oh, you'll have regrets. You know, when you got this tattoo when you were 18, you'll have regrets. That isn't me, I assure you. So if you want a video about my tattoos, I'm definitely happy to talk about them. I could talk about them for a long, long time. Yeah, so comment down below what makes you weird, and or special. Maybe we should say what makes you special. But thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you on another raw video. See you later, bye.